Hello, I'm Lonnie Weissman, first senior mentor supporting teams in the greater San Francisco and Monterey Bay areas. It's my pleasure to introduce this month's first California Alumni Spotlight. What better way to learn about a first alumni than through an interview led by a current first student? Please meet Natalie Dean, our 2021 first Dean's List semifinalist from FRC 3045, the Gear Gremlins in San Mateo. She graciously interviews Anand Atreya, originally from Team 830 in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and now a Silicon Valley entrepreneur. Anand not only created and sold multiple successful startups, but he also was part of the team to launch the San Francisco Regional in 2017 and has volunteered as judge advisor ever since. Let's learn more about Anand Atreya in First California Alumni Spotlight.
Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Dean. I'm here at Cal Games 2021. This is our first in-person competition since COVID has hit, and a lot has changed. I'm from Team 3045 based in San Mateo, and I'm so honored to be here with such a distinguished alum.
Hi, my name is Anand Atreya. I am a former first student. I used to be on Team 830 out of Ann Arbor, Michigan.
Wow. So you graduated first in 2003, right?
That's right. I was a senior in 2003 in high school.
Wow.
So, yeah.
So how did you first get involved in robotics?
Yeah, it's interesting. I was first at my school started in 2002, actually. So I was only partway through my time in high school. I didn't know anything about it. I had a really good friend from science class, and she was like, hey, you need to come check out this robotics thing. And I was like, I don't know what that is, whatever. So I went to like the first meeting that I was there, and I was hooked. It was amazing. And I was like, this is pretty cool. Being
Robotics
able
has
to like
that
build
effect.
robots. Yeah. It was kind of an instant sort of feeling.
So what do you do now, just for all of our viewers?
Yeah, so I work at Google. I'm a product manager. I work on Google Pay, which is kind of the most people are familiar with it as like a tap and pay application. We work on a lot of other features. So I lead all of the product efforts for all of the personal finance features in Google Pay.
That is so cool. So you went from robotics to working at Google. How did you get there? What advice would you give to high schoolers that are just going to begin their college career?
Yeah, so it was an interesting journey. I basically started out of college, or in college, I studied electrical engineering and robotics. So I was actually really interested in robotics coming off of first, obviously. And I spent a lot of time in college actually working on the DARPA Grand Challenge, which was one of the first self-driving car competitions. And then from there, I later went on to do a PhD in robotics after working at Lincoln Laboratory for a couple of years, which was like a research lab in Boston. And the PhD was also kind of focused on like electrical engineering, AI, machine learning, and robotics. I ended up dropping out of that actually to start a couple companies. So my first company was actually taking some of the stuff that we had learned and doing research on for using robotics algorithms and applying it to cell phones to basically calculate like indoor GPS type of technologies for users. So Apple acquired that company and it's built into the iPhone now. And then my second company was really focused on applying kind of automation and AI to money and personal finance to help people make the most of their money. And that's how I ended up at Google via an acquisition a few years ago. So it's been an interesting journey kind of through that whole process. I think one of the things that I really took away from it is I spent many years working on a PhD, not really sure what I wanted to do with it. And I think the biggest takeaway for me is like having an experimental mindset, just trying something, not really sure what's going to happen. In startups, we like to talk a lot about product market fit, about you're working on something and you're not really sure if you've like struck an idea that really makes sense. And I think for you in your career, it's the same type of thing. It's basically saying, is what I'm working on now the thing I want to do with my career? I don't know. So you try a bunch of stuff. You see you kind of iterate. You kind of land in various areas, figure out what you liked, what you didn't like, and kind of go from there. And I think that's the same process that when we apply it to startups, you actually really want to apply it to yourself because it's how you figure out what you really are passionate about working on.
That's incredible. Thank you so much. How has FIRST helped you? What did you learn from FIRST that you use in your present day life?
It's been interesting. I think there's a lot more than I would have expected. We like to talk about FIRST as more than robots. At the time, I didn't really understand that. It was really about like, oh, these robots are super cool, but there's so much you learn through the process around like teamwork and the design process and iteration, and experimentation and failure and all of those things that I think are so important to understand to be able to be resilient in the real world and to be able to try stuff and build new things. So I kind of gained a lot from that experience.
That is so cool. What would you tell the students that are not interested in robotics yet, but maybe thinking, oh, this is kind of cool. Maybe I want to go and crash a robot into a wall. what would you tell them as far as their future?
Kind of the try stuff, try new ideas. Think about the things that you want to exist in the world and figure out how you can start making progress towards making that happen. Talk to people who are in situations that you look up to and basically ask, how did you get to where you are? What are the things that you did that were really transformative for your career and for your direction? And then reflect on that for yourself and say, is this something that makes sense to me personally?
Awesome. Now, last question. What is your favorite first memory? I know we've all got some ridiculous moments that have happened in first as we're all sleep deprived and working on robots at way later than we should be up.
I think it was actually my first regional event. So back in 2002, there wasn't a whole lot of online media. I hadn't really seen what first was like in any visual way. And after we spent the whole season building this robot, we shipped it off, we packed it up, and that was kind of it. And then I showed up at this regional, and it was just this massive event with music playing and this amazing field and teams everywhere and so much energy. And I was like, this is amazing. Like it really stuck with me, like that incredible, strong feeling.
It's the energy and the feeling of community that first builds.
Yeah, it just felt really, really, really overwhelming, actually.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. We hope to see you at the in-person events this year. Stay safe.
Thank you.